So you're getting pulled over. You're not really sure what you did. That's a lot more common than you think. And if the cop tries to make you feel bad about it, well, I guess all of us cops probably played that game from one time to another. But in actuality, it's probably not the best way to handle a traffic stop. But you get pulled over, you see the lights behind you. A lot of people ask when I'm doing these videos about how, it's not a bad idea to get a second record, have your video camera rolling as well. How do you get that set up? Now, if your phone happens to be under your seat and you happen to have to go get it, trying to do it as the cop's walking up to you, you can probably expect a little bit of a problem, maybe a little bit more of a concern, because the police officer sees you fidgeting around the inside of the vehicle, reaching for things, going under seats, trying to obtain your cell phone only for the purposes of recording. But in their mind, they might be thinking something else. Could be guns, could be drugs, could be you trying to secrete evidence, destroy evidence, whatever it may be, of some potential other crime than just a stop sign violation, speeding, or you looking at your cell phone when you were driving. So whatever that happens to be, just understand that's in the officer's mind. We all kind of program ourselves to think that way because the last thing we want to do is die. Dying would suck. So we try to prevent that. And sometimes we get a little bit too excitable. And when that adrenaline starts to pump and start to flow, just think of your own life. Your adrenaline starts to flow. I mean, you kind of talk fast and your knees get a little shaky and, that heartbeat, respiration, breathing, because breathing is respiration, but all that stuff starts to happen. So the best thing to do is hopefully be prepared for that. Now, usually, luck favors the prepared, as G.I. Joe says. I don't know if that's who says that, but, not a bad idea. But that's something that you might face if you happen to have your cell phone under your seat or on the floor and you're trying to fidget around and get it. You might have a little higher escalation from the officer because they should be able to articulate that I conducted this traffic stop. And as I was approaching the vehicle, I noticed that the driver was under the seat, in the glove box, looking around, grabbing things, in the back seat, reaching back, reaching forward, doing it in a very fast motion, doing it quickly. That's something that they would point out if that would have changed their concern and something else would have happened during the traffic stop. But for the most part, you filming it isn't an issue. You just have to keep your hands visible at all times. Now, they shouldn't just shoot you just because you're moving around in the cabin of the vehicle. There's a lot of other proof that is required when an officer drops a hammer on somebody. And it kind of corresponds to the biggest one, which is immediate defense of life. You moving around in the cab of a car might not be enough, but it's going to depend on the court jurisdiction, who's hearing the case and how it's going to be written up, and what there was in there. Did they find a gun under the seat? Maybe that would increase the officer's chances to justify that particular discharge of their weapon. Things to think of, things to consider. But whenever I'm talking to people, having that videotape rolling, I don't think any police officer should be under the presumption that their tape, if they happen to have one, is the only one running. It should be something that's very much acceptable, and I believe it's legal in all jurisdictions. But make sure, I'm not an attorney, make sure you follow up with every little aspect of any one of these videos I do at theticketwhisperer.com and let me know if I'm off base or if I need to do a fix to this. But make sure you check with your local jurisdiction. I'm Connor. We'll see you tomorrow.